This story is sponsored by DigElog ROCORI 2.0. The DigElog network now publishes to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so we are where you are. DigElog ROCORI 2.0, where ROCORI people connect. In part 1 of DigElog ROCORI's interview with Barry Venable, we discuss some of the steps leading up to the middle school referendum proposal. Venable is a parent of children in the ROCORI district, as well as a member of the middle school task force, and he has co-authored the referendum articles that have appeared in the Cold Spring Record. In part 2 of this interview, he discusses why he believes this referendum proposal is a modest one.
We talk about the proposal as a modest proposal. What does modest mean? I think it really means frugal. Frugal in the classic sense, in that it achieves maximum value. What is modest about this proposal? Well, first compare it to 3 previous referendums, at least 2 of the 3 previous referendums that were $50 million referendums. This is slightly less than half of those 2 referendums. I think what that tells you is that this proposal has whittled away the fat and has gotten down to the nitty-gritty on what needs to be fixed. So it's modest in that sense. It's also modest in the types of facilities that it builds. There is no plan, there's no effort, there's not even a desire to build a golden palace with any of these buildings. They're going to look, the additions onto the high school building are going to look just like the additions that are there. There's going to be no gold plating involved in this thing. It's modest in terms of tax impact to the individual taxpayer. The proposal, if approved, on an average home within the district will raise your taxes by $10 a month or $120 a year from current levels. You can take the data, the tax data associated with this proposal, and were there not a Cold Spring Elementary School bond being retired, or just before this bond would take effect, then you would have a significant leap to achieve this same building on the order of $200+ a year to build the current proposal without that piggybacking, if you will, of the bonds. Well, first off, the task force arrived at a recommendation in terms of a solution to the district's facility needs. That recommendation grew out of, the task force looked at just about every conceivable alternative there was to fixing the district's problems facility-wise. We obviously had to cut that down to a manageable number, which we did, and we then evaluated each of those alternatives, and then arrived at the recommendation to add a middle school wing onto the existing high school facility and make some additions and renovations at the high school facility as the preferred solution, the preferred recommendation. Once we had made that decision, if you will, within the task force, we went back and reviewed what we had done. We wanted to make sure that it actually would solve the middle school problem, that it would get the most impact towards the criteria which we had established at the beginning of the process. As we reviewed the plan, and we had lots of help from the architectural firm retained by the district, but as we reviewed the plan, there were several modifications made to ensure that the district's educational requirements were met. Secondly, to ensure that there was no gold plating on this thing. And so we went back through, relooked. We also had the professional educators on the district staff review the plan. And actually, when we finished the plan, it was at about $32 million. We then submitted the plan to the school board, who deliberated on it for some time. And the school board made some adjustments to the recommendation the task force put forward. The net result was They reduced the plan to under $30 million and kept most of the core components that we had recommended from the task force to build a new middle school and simultaneously address facility needs across the district. That's what we're doing in one referendum. In a single referendum. What do I mean by a single referendum? The problems at the middle school and at the other facilities are not going to go away by themselves. We can fix it now, or we can fix it later, and we can fix it through one referendum, or we can fix it through several, or we can allow it to be fixed for us without the benefit of a ballot box. Because ultimately that's what will happen. Something will have to be fixed, and it will be mandated that money be spent on this facility instead of allowing us to choose when and where we spend the money.